stopper with great skill from him to wing the Mo Salah! Raheem Sterling! What a finish! What pure class from the Englishman!
Premier Talk, the English Premier League podcast for the fans.
Hello and welcome back to the Premier Talk podcast. I'm one of your two hosts, as always, Andrew Mello. Alongside with me is Danny Barbuto. Daniel, did you miss me, bro?
I did, but I had a great co-host for the week. So you know what, it was okay. I missed you a little bit. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I was enjoying the nice Portuguese weather, the nice Portuguese sun, and taking it all in. So it's a touch back to reality now. I'm back in Canada, but I had to go. I went on a business trip. I had to go talk to the Portuguese national team coach and tell him what's up before the important qualifying game against Turkey. So I had to talk some sense into Fernando Santos for the week.
Well, at least whatever you said to him, it worked.
Yeah, it did work.
Big dub there on your end. On my end, not so much. Anyways, sorry for the little slight echo. We got the new studio coming together. Good new podcast studio in the freshly renovated basement. Cannot wait to get started with this. But yeah, it's coming together.
Daniel, let's kick off with the starting lineup here.
Starting lineup, kicking us off, we got the games of the week, as always.
Then we got a FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022.
And then we got very disappointing topic, sad topic. We got disappointment in Italy after their loss to North Macedonia. And we will not be seeing them in the 2022 World Cup.
This is so weird because this is going to be an absolutely rough, next 25 minutes or so for you to talk about. And then for me, it just all smiles.
You're flying.
I'm buzzing right now after that win.
Yeah, it was yesterday was not a fun day, I'll tell you that. It was not at all. Anyways, kicking us off, let's go back to a positive note. We got the games of the week in the Premier League. We recorded last time with special guest Anthony Falchetti, shouting him out. Thank you again for coming on the podcast. We left us off with Arsenal going to play Liverpool later that day. And we're going to kick us off with that. That's the first game of the week. Arsenal-Liverpool. Anthony's prediction was 2-1 Arsenal, with goals coming from Martinelli and I believe Odegaard. And then he said that Jota always ruins Arsenal. And he said that he was going to score one goal. Jota did end up scoring one goal in the 54th minute. Very poor angle. Ramsdale should have had it covered. Realistically, it was not good at all. But then again, it was a nice shot from Jota. He kicked up the scoring in the 54th. And then Firmino doubled the lead in 8 minutes later. A really nice deflection past Ramsdale. And realistically, I thought Arsenal was going to come out and actually get a point from this game because they came through in good form. They played really well throughout the entire game. But it just shows the strength and the depth of this Liverpool squad. Because although Arsenal had a sick game, Liverpool still came out with the 3 points. And that's the difference between a team like Arsenal that's going to be sitting in fourth and trying to make Champions League and a team like Liverpool who's competing for the title. It just shows the quality of the two teams. After this 2-0 Liverpool win, the title race now just 1 point. Liverpool face City twice in 6 days. The first game is April 10th for the league, which I think is bigger than the second game. The second game is April 16th for the semifinals of the FA Cup. Both of those games are going to be ridiculous. This Liverpool squad is insane. That Manchester City squad is even better. But we'll see who comes out in these next two games. We got Thursday, March 17th, Everton versus Newcastle. This was a wild one all over the place. It was 1-0 Everton. Everton's been shocking as of late. Look like they're going to get relegated. The first big side to get relegated in forever. However, they got a positive result in this one. 1-0. The goal came in the 99th minute. Wild game. Realistically, Newcastle had the chance in this one. But the game changed, and it changed in a really weird way. In the second half, a protester came onto the field and chained himself. He zip-tied himself to the post, held around his neck. It was a really weird sight. The game had to be stopped because he was obviously impeding, and it wasn't just an easy removal either because he was chained around his neck. They had to be careful. They had to go grab I think they grabbed wire cutters to cut him off from the post, and then he had to be escorted off the field. And it lasted about 15 minutes. It wasn't something that was quick because it's not just like a regular protester. He was protesting something about oil. Anyways, I don't want to get into the political side of it, but he was protesting for a reason.
That's the most attention our Everton's gotten all season. was that little 15-minute?
It was bad.
Yeah.
And they tried as little, the broadcast team did a good job trying to show it as little as possible, like they do usually whenever there's people that try to give themselves attention on the field. But look, it's protests, and there's been protests going on all over the world right now, especially with stuff that's happening across seas in Ukraine and in Russia. This is for a different reason. This was UK-based protesting. And look, I'm not going to be one to say don't let your voice heard. Probably not the greatest way to do it, though. Not long after, play restarted. Mello, I don't know if you saw this tackle on Alan. He got sent off for this tackle, okay? Saint Maximin was in the middle of the field, starting a counter attack, and Alan from behind tripped him up. Yellow card. Simple. Easy. Alan's like, okay, I'm going to stop this counter attack. He had like maybe a couple fouls against him in the game. He wasn't sitting on a card or anything. He tripped him up. The ref, he knew he was going to yell. He walked away. VAR intervened, and they determined that this was like a malicious tackle from Alan. Something ridiculous, like intent to injure or something. And they gave him a straight red. And I could not believe my eyes. I was watching this game because the game went so late because of the delay that happened in the second half. I think there was like plus 20 minutes of added time or something ridiculous. I was watching this game and I could not believe that VAR had intervened on this tackle. I couldn't believe it.
Bro, at this point, like the EPL refs are turning into the NBA refs, like just soft referees, making stupid, ridiculous calls. And it always leaves us, the fans, just scratching our heads and wondering what the hell's going on here. What is it that we see that they're not seeing, and vice versa? So I don't know. It's so ridiculous.
Anyways, after that, then Everton was down to 10 men, and this one was like, okay, Newcastle's going to start pressing, and they did. They had their chances to win this game late. But in the 99th minute, you got Alex Iwobi. He's breaking the deadlock. A fantastic back heel from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He slots the ball into the back of the net. You got Frankie Lampard going absolutely nuts on the sidelines. In the 99th minute, game ended like that, 1-0 Everton with 10 men. It was the scenes. Like, it was just like, when it like stops and you hear the crowd roaring and they're going nuts. It was at home in Everton. It was just the loudest thing ever. Goodison Park is just fantastic. I love it for this. The fans are crazy and they were going absolutely stupid. Their team's been in shambles over the last like month and a half, 2 months. So to see this was just crazy. And then we got an even better game, the best game of the week, saving it for last. We got Wolves Leeds. Leeds won this one 3-2 after Wolves was up 2-0. Wolves did come out strong first half. He got goals coming from Johnny in the 26th after a cutback, and Trincao just before halftime, which is also another cutback, but it was a cutback that was way outside the box. He rifled this one into the bottom corner. A lovely shot from him. The start of the second half, everything's good in Wolves. However, Jimenez gets a second yellow after a clash with the Meslier, and he ended up getting injured on the play. He had to get pulled off, and from there on, the whole game changed. It changed completely. 10 minutes later, Jack Harrison, he kicks out to come back in the 63rd. Ball was scrambling in the box. He finally potted it in. And 3 minutes later, Rodrigo tied the game at 2s. So in the 62nd minute, it was 2-0 Wolves. In the 66th minute, it was 2-2. This game was nuts. For those of you that didn't watch this game, just go watch the highlights. There's like a 15-minute video on the highlights with commentary, because the commentary was the best commentary I've ever heard in the game. The commentators are going absolutely nuts. I forget what the guy's very, very popular English commentary. I'm going to get hated for this because he's also the FIFA commentator. I forget his name though. What's the FIFA commentator's name?
Martin? Is it Martin Tyler?
Yeah, Martin Tyler. That was
Alan Smith. There's another one.
I think it was Martin Tyler or Alan Smith. It was one of the two, and they were with some guy I've never heard before. But his commentary is amazing, and he has the greatest voice ever. And he made this game just the most exciting thing ever, because it was back and forth the whole game. Even though Wolves were down to 10 men, they still proceeded to attack and go forward, and they had their chances to send this game 3-2 in their way. But you got Luke Ayling, the fullback, half volley in the 91st minute, just rifling it through Jose Sa, rifled it through his legs. And the crowd went absolutely nuts. The commentators are going nuts. The crowd was going nuts. You got Jesse Marsh on the sideline, the new Leeds coach. He was going nuts. Everybody was going nuts. The bench came on the field. It was ridiculous.
Leeds
This
really
game
needed
was-
this. Yeah,
They did. And
they
this
really
game
needed
was ridiculous too. It was just as good as it was late drama in both these games. And late drama in the Prem is the greatest thing ever. I love it. Anyways, that's too much talking from me. Sorry for the long monologue. But again, just a fantastic game. And for those of you that did not watch this game, go watch the highlights because it is one that you will remember for a long time.
Yeah, Jesse Marsh is doing well. He's adjusted well. Leeds, maybe they need a new philosophy there, a new direction, and so far so good for Jesse Marsh, winning in this fashion. Just like you said there, the reaction from the crowd, the reaction from himself, and just the commentary. You see how badly Leeds needed a win, how badly they needed things to turn around because they're just above the relegation spots there. So this is massive for them.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to say about Jesse Marsh, he came into this squad and people were like, "Oh, he's not English. He's American. He's American. He's a North American guy." And people are like, "What's he gonna do for this sport?" Obviously, it's a European sport. It always has been. It's just like they don't want guys from outside of Europe coming in. And if they do, they better be world renowned and they better be somebody that everyone knows. However, this guy was American. So coming in, he already had people talking. And I can't lie to you, he's done a good job. It's funny though, hearing him speak in even the thing, like he looks like he's a European or he's a European dude, but he's not. He just speaks like an American. And I don't know. I feel like he gets too much hate for it because like Americans are like, even people outside of America are like, "Oh, he's American," but whatever. He's a coach. He's a manager. He knows what he's doing. He came into this side, and now this was his second one. I believe his first one was against Norwich, and again, it was late, another late win. But hey, 3 points is 3 points, and a comeback victory is even more. So,
Daniel, let's get into the good stuff because the Premier League games of the week are fantastic, but there was some amazing World Cup fixtures, World Cup qualifying fixtures taking place. We're not going to go through every single one here. South America, obviously Brazil doing what they do best, just rolling over Chile. Uruguay qualified as well. Ecuador qualified as well with their respective results. But Daniel, I want to get into a little bit more local. Portugal took on Turkey, and Portugal.
I wouldn't call that local.
For me, it's local. For me,
you were basically there while this game was going on. What were you a day? You did the day you came back? Did it go on, or 2 days after?
2 days after. 2 days after.
2 days after you came back.
But I had a good conversation with Fernando Santos, and he was ready
okay.
for this one because he's been in shambles. Everyone knows how I feel about this guy. I've had many tiresome conversations about this coach, and just an old-fashioned coach that doesn't want to change his ways, has preference for certain players that should have no business being in the squad, let alone starting in the squad. Like João Moutinho's time's done, in my opinion. Guys like that, guys like William Carvalho shouldn't even be there. He calls up guys like Sergio Oliveira for one call up, doesn't call him the next. It's just weird call ups.
How do you feel about Danilo Pereira?
He did a fantastic job yesterday as a makeshift center back.
Yeah, that's what he's
Portugal coming to this game. I was going to mention this. They had some notable absences, the likes of Renato Sanchez, Ruben Neves, Pep out with COVID, João Cancelo out through suspension, Nelson Smith out through injury. They're just really depleted right now. And going into this game, I was not comfortable. I was not sitting there knowing that Portugal would go through with 100% certainty because it's a one game win or go home type of thing when you go through to the next round, to the finals. And we started very well. I wasn't very impressed with the initial lineup. We had a young goalkeeper making his debut for the national team in a competitive game in Diogo Costa. He didn't really see much throughout this game, had a couple catches, easy catches, but he's got an unbeaten record in the Liga NOS. He has yet to lose a game. He's got 10 clean sheets.
Because I thought, sorry to cut you off, I thought they would have started Jose Sa because he's been great this year.
I thought Jessa as well would be the number one guy there because he's been fantastic in the Prem. especially with Rui Patricio being terrible this year for
What
Roma.
happened? What happened to him?
Man, I don't know, man. I think he's just fallen off heavy. That's why he left Wolves, wanted a new start in Rome, with Roma, obviously. But he's been poor. He's been poor, letting a lot of easy goals go in. I remember looking back to the Euro Cup, Belgium, the goal from Thorgan Hazard. He was just set wrong, and he let in a chicken goal. But looking back to this game, Portugal started very well. Otavio, as much as I don't like him because he's a Portista, he did fantastic at home in his home stadium in the Estádio do Dragão, and he was what Portugal needed, because I feel like they've been lacking that energy, that pressing energy, and he was just very gritty and winning a lot of balls and challenging for a lot of balls, and then he found himself in the right place to clean up the mess for the first goal, and he assisted the second goal to Jota, a lovely little chip over the top ball to Jota back post, and a fantastic thumping header back post. A lot of precision and power on that from Jota. And then Turkey, they came back. Burak Yilmaz, just poor defending, just easy through ball through the defenders inside the 18-yard box, and he just tapped it in. No chance for the keeper, really. And that's when my heart sank, because I know how Portugal plays in these games with immense pressure, and they don't usually fare well. They choke a lot of the time. And no, I wasn't confident, and I thought Turkey would come back, and Portugal
had the chance to.
Portugal had the chance to go and make it 3-1, and Jota missed, or 3-0. This was before the Turkey goal, but Jota just missed an empty net, the goal that came off his line. There's just a lot of missed chances in this game that were like, oh, this is gonna come back to bite us, and then nearly did. And there was a penalty shot that got called. I think it was the most ridiculous penalty shot called, man. Joseph Font, our center half from Lille, he stuck out his foot, and then Elmas, their forward, their striker, went studs up on our guy, but he went down and rolled around like a little baby, so he got the penalty called on VAR. I thought it was ridiculous, and I'm like, in my head. Yeah, I was thinking
soccer gets a poor rap for that kind of stuff. I hate it.
It just pissed me off, because he's the one that went studs up, but he had this stupid baby reaction on the floor, rolling like a little baby, and it earned him a penalty shot. And the ball never lies, and Yilmaz skied the pen, and then Portugal made some subs, and Mateus Nunes came on and he scored. So it was fantastic. It was a fantastic win, and all I got to say is Viva Portugal, baby. Viva
of course,
Portugal.
he has a flag. Jesus.
So now we take on. I'm not. Do you want to get into it?
No, we're not going to get into that.
We'll say that for a little bit. But
okay, you can say who everyone thought they would go on to advanced Italy. It'd be a great game, but instead they're playing Macedonia, and nobody's fault but Italy's. Anyways,
just some notable stats here for the Portugal game: 8 shots on target, 60% possession. So Portugal, they show their dominance there. And I know what pisses me off most about this game is that it should never happen. Portugal should have never been here. This goes back to months and months ago, to Ronaldo's goal that crossed the line. There was no VAR in that game. I don't know why it wasn't in that game. And goal line technology, did we forget about that? We threw it out the window.
Yeah, I know.
And they cleared it out from their own goal, and the replay showed that the ball clearly passed, and it would have given Portugal the advantage. And we shouldn't even been here. But here we are, and we took care of business. Wasn't the best way of taking care of business, but we did it. And I look forward to next game with João Cancelo coming back. And hopefully could continue to play well with the absence of some key guys like Ruben Neves and Ruben Dias, like I already said, and also Ronaldo Sanchez, which is a key player in our team. So just well done from the Portuguese national team and holding on.
Now we're going to move on to something actually local. We got Canada versus Costa Rica.
Oh, Canada. Oh, baby.
I can't stand that guy.
Anyways.
Oh, God. Anyways, Canada coming into this game undefeated in CONCACAF qualifying. They needed a win. The 3 points would see them into the World Cup in Qatar. A tie and Panama and Honduras drawing, I believe, was what would send them through. And then a loss and Panama drawing Honduras and Mexico winning against the States would send them through. Anyways, a whole bunch of stuff needed to happen in order for Canada to get through, or they could have just won and that's
win and you're in. Yeah,
win and you're in. It's that simple. Anyways, Mark Anthony K, he decides that this is a great game that he should go get a red card in. His first tackle, his first yellow easily could have been a red in my opinion. Easily. Studs up into a defenseless player, and it was late. And for me, those two things qualify as a red card. It should have been a red card. VAR went and looked at it. They deemed that the yellow that was originally given was a fine result. I think he should have been sent off right then and there. Anyways, that happened in the 15th minute. Knowing he's already on a yellow, he goes shoulder to shoulder and gives him a little shoulder pump as he's walking by a Costa Rican player. Gets sent off for a second yellow. Just like no awareness of what's going on, not knowing that you're already on a yellow card. You need one little stupid or silly challenge. It's going to get you sent off. It comes off the ball, not even nowhere near the ball. It comes. That's where
you got challenged. You got challenged. He went down, and then he didn't get the foul. And then he gets back up. He walks over to that danger area off ball, and the ball's completely on the other side of the field. He's talking to the guy that tackled him, and then tackled him. And essentially, what happened was he went in and he gave him a shoulder. It wasn't a malicious shoulder, but it was definitely enough to get him a yellow, and it's just he wasn't thinking because the Costa Rican player was definitely looking for it and embellished it a little bit and made it.
Oh, he embellished it so much.
Made it way worse than what it actually was. But for Mark Anthony K, you let down your team, and you put them in a difficult spot where for the next 15 minutes they struggled. They really did struggle the rest of that first half, and they had no possession, no quality really going forward. Jonathan David and Kyle Lowry were so isolated up there by themselves.
They weren't very good yesterday either.
No, they were very quiet. And for me, what the feeling of this game was that the players had already thought the job was done. And the job's never over until it's over. And for Canada yesterday, it looked like they sort of thought they were, they thought they were all in, you know what I mean? And it didn't look like they had that same hunger they did against the United States at home in Hamilton. It didn't look like they had the same hunger against Mexico in the Azteca. It's that little bit of energy that really drives the team forward. And I think in the second half, after they conceded in the first half in the 45th off a header from Borges.
It was a nice header.
It was a decent header, but it was kind of had no size there in the back, lacking some size from the center halves. Alistair Johnson and Kamal Miller, all undersized guys. But anyway, second half, flash forward. I thought they were really resilient in the second half. They looked like they were the team that had a man up. They were controlling the tempo of the game. Possession was really in their favor as well. And they had some chances down. They squandered some chances in front of goalie Stach, who had a cross net shot he missed. I thought he could have done a little bit better and hit the target. Buchanan had a header that he should have probably buried. He jumped off of his feet instead of staying planted and just headering and letting the ball come to his head. I think he could have finished that, and then he just missed the second chance as well.
There was a post off Jonathan David.
Yeah, that would have probably been called back for a handball because he did kind of flick it with his arm.
Did he flick it? Yeah.
So they had their chances though. They had their chances and they could have easily tied, and a tie would have been enough. But it goes back to the first half, losing your head, getting immersed too much in getting lost in that environment of 35,000 Costa Rican fans, because it was a big stadium. Yeah, it was a pretty heated environment, and he just lost his head and lost his cool, and I'm sure he's probably a little bit regretful after doing what he did.
The only good thing, I mean, the positive you can take away from this game, other than the fact that they played really well in the second half, is that Canada now get to play at home at BMO Field versus Jamaica, and a tie qualifies them for the World Cup for the first time in 36 years.
First time in our lifetime. I know a lot of people
in our lifetime, and I know people that are going to be at this game. Is right around the corner not right around the corner from my house. It's about half an hour from my house, BMO Field, and I sadly did not get tickets for it because they sold out almost instantly.
So ridiculous. They're so expensive too, man.
Oh, so expensive. They're like
$100 for a nosebleed. Come on.
No, yeah, it was like anywhere in the middle of the field. You're looking from anywhere from 190 to 240.
So ridiculous.
Which is ridiculous. I know I went to that game against Panama when Davies had a masterclass, and those tickets, I was sitting the best seats in the house, and we were paid I think it was $60. So obviously you got the charge. Obviously they knew that there was a possibility that this would be the game that would send them to the World Cup. And it just so happened that this is going to be the game that hopefully qualifies them. They just need a tie. That is all they need. They don't need anything else. A tie sends them to the World Cup. They're obviously going to go out there for the win. I hope they do, because then they maintain first in the group to beat out Mexico and the States. And Canada, we can easily see them playing this year in November against quality European sides and South American sides. And I don't know how they're going to fit it there, but then again, the big thing is just making it there. That's more of an accomplishment than anything else.
Yeah, Daniel, I'm looking forward to it. And for all the Canadian Italians, they have something to look forward to still if Canada makes it, because we all know Georgine out. So, hey, and look at on the bright side for all the MLS fans out there. If Insigne is not making the national team,
Insigne
is not going to be going to the World Cup along with his Italian counterparts, his buddies, he's going to be able to play for Toronto FC in the playoffs. So I look at it like that as positive. So,
anyways, we're going to move on to this final segment that is going to be a very quick segment, because I do not want to talk about this for very long. Disappointment in Italy. Italy do not qualify for the second World Cup in a row. And this time, they're doing it nobody else's fault but their own, against North Macedonia, a team that you do not expect to be beating the previous Euro Cup winners. Anyways, we're gonna get onto this game quickly. We got Italy. The game was 0-0 the entire game. You had likes of Berardi, who did have a good game. I can't lie to you. He was probably the best player on the field for Italy. Missing an open net that was passed to him by the goalkeeper. And then he decided to pass it back to the goalkeeper after he was awarded a goal on a silver platter. On top of that, he missed a decent breakaway. It was on his weak foot, but then again, you're a professional footballer. You should be scoring on your weak foot no matter where you are, especially if you're on a breakaway. And then all these missed chances, 16 corner kicks, 32 total shots, came back to bite them, as a man named Transkowski. I believe he plays for Sheriff, who we've seen the likes of them in the Champions League this year, and they wanted to beat Madrid. Anyways, he scored an absolute rocket in the 92nd minute, and they went absolutely nuts. The coach went nuts. The players ran on the field. He celebrated with everybody in the kitchen sink. And even I was watching this game in Italian, and the Italian commentators, translating it to English, said, "Oh no, the unbelievable has just become possible." And
what a line, eh? What a line.
And in Italian too. It sounds 1,000 times better than it does in English. But I speechless. I was sitting here with seven other Italians, friends of mine, and we sitting here, and I don't think anyone spoke for 3 minutes. We were just sitting there. And the first thing that came out of my friends was, "This is rigged," because it was so unreal that we had lost this game after we dominated. A little bit of stats. We had 65% possession. We had a 2.78 expected goals, and they had 0.17, 0.17 expected goals. We had 32 shots, like I mentioned, 16 corners. They had 0. It was just we controlled it. We had very little attacking prowess because Immobile played absolutely shocking. We had no Chiesa yesterday. Our midfield was good at best. And then when it was 0-0, I didn't like that we're taking off the likes of Barella to sub on Tonali as a more defensive midfielder. You didn't get Chiellini or Bonucci starting. And okay, Bastoni is a fantastic center back. I think he's a great youngster. He's a great young talent. I think he's going to be good eventually. Mancini was playing. I don't think he should have been playing. Although Chiellini can't last a whole 90 minutes anymore, why not start with Chiellini and then sub him in based on how the game's going? I'm not going to put this all on Mancini because he led us to that Euro Cup victory. But this is disappointing, to say the least. It is. You're expecting your team to be in the World Cup, especially after not making it to the last one. And our team has gotten so much better since that last World Cup qualifying. And you're expecting the reigning Euro champions to be in the World Cup. And here's another little problem that I don't necessarily have, but I know a lot of people do. And I think this is just coming into fruition now because Italy's not in the World Cup. There's teams that have already qualified, such as, not slandering these teams in any way, such as the likes of Iran, Saudi Arabia, Japan, South Korea. Although they have their own World Cup qualifying, people believe that the World Cup should be the best 32 teams in the world. And although I believe that to be true, and Italy is definitely among these teams that should be in it, upsets and these Cinderella stories are what make football.
Yeah.
Realistically. Yeah, the likes of Iceland. When was that? 4 years ago? When they went on their fantastic run. They have a population of like 40,000 people. And you got them heading to the semis of the Euros, which are just crazy. And I think that's a beautiful game that we play, where the upset story is fantastic. And even an upset story like North Macedonia going on, and now they go on to play Portugal on the 29th. It's another Cinderella story waiting to happen. I don't think it will, because I think Portugal's side will be too strong for this Macedonia side. But then again, I said the exact same thing for Italy, and look how that turned out. So,
Daniel, that's where the Cinderella story ends. It's going to end in Porto at the Estádio Dragão. And, my boy João Felix is going to come on and just wreak havoc on the Macedonians. So, it was fun while it lasted, is the saying. And that's what a lot of Macedonians are going to say after that game, because Portugal just can't let it slip, man. They can't. And
especially it being Ronaldo's last World Cup. I think they do it for him more than they do it for anyone else.
I mean, not even for that, just the fact that, like, if you lose to you lose to North Macedonia at home, that's never ever qualified, and everyone knows they're inferior and they don't have the quality that you have. If you fail at that task, like, that's embarrassing. It's an embarrassment. And for all those Portuguese people in Toronto talking crap, saying Italians, suck it to the Italians. Just don't speak too soon, because you never know what can happen. And it's a one game type of thing. And Italy, I wasn't feeling too confident in Italy for this game. I wasn't expecting them to lose, but I thought they would have a tough time, because they've struggled to score one goal in their last 3 competitive national team games. And also their records, it's a loss, a win. They won against was it Spain or Belgium? Maybe Belgium.
Spain in the what's that, Nations League?
Yeah, and then they tied twice and lost another one. So they haven't been doing good recently, and since the Euro they've really dropped and tapered off a bit. So I wasn't expecting much from Italy. I was expecting them to win for sure, but not like a super convincing win. And that's the problem with these one leg games. If it's not your day, it's not your day, and it could be a costly consequence if you're not on your money. So that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of these new qualification games. So it adds a lot of excitement and uncertainty.
And one quick stat I want to leave us everyone off with, which is another awful Italian stat. The last World Cup knockout round game was the 2006 World Cup finals that Italy went on to win. And it was the last knockout round game they've played. And that's where I want to leave that.
RP in the chat. Chat.
Literally.
Dino, that about wraps it up for this very melancholy episode of Premier Talk. For me, it's just, I see bright horizons ahead.
You're just jubilation all over the place, and I'm just sitting here like depressed.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. We got to make this World Cup, because if we do, and when we do, we're gonna have a nice solid squad. We're gonna get all of those guys back. They'll be healthy in time for that. And Portugal looks like a force to be reckoned with come that time, if they have those players at their disposal. Some of the world's best and some of the Premier League's best, through and throughout their lineup. So I'm excited, Daniel, and I'm looking forward to Portugal, North Macedonia, Estádio Dragão, I believe on the 29th.
29th, yep.
29th of February, or of March.
March, it's in 4 days.
4 days. So I'm going to be definitely tuning into that one, and it's going to be a nail biter.
Yes, it will.
So, yeah.
Anyways, as always, guys, thank you so much for listening. Make sure to check us out at Premier Talk Official on Instagram. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you want to listen. We're there, and we appreciate it as always.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care, everyone.